Hey boys, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about the matches to make for UFC 312, Duplessis versus Strickland. We're also just going to be running through each fight. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts. This isn't going to be a long video. I was watching the fights. I just put this together kind of pretty slapdash. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's really late and I'm going climbing for my friend's birthday tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm just going to kind of run through this pretty quickly. Without further ado, let's get into the first fight of the night. First fight of the night, Quillen Salkill just smoked Anshul Jubilee. This wasn't even competitive. I don't even know if Anshul Jubilee's ever gonna fight again in the UFC. Um, yeah, he just fucking ran through him in 18 seconds. Second fastest debut in lightweight history. Super impressive stuff from Salkild. I was high on him since he beat Gage Young in the Dana White's Contender Series. Super impressive fighter. I'm giving him a pretty big step up ish in Abdul Karim Al Salwadi. I think he'll probably win this fight and he'll look good doing it. And Salwadi has a pretty decent record, so it'll be a pretty good name to kind of make himself off of. On the other hand, we have Anshul Jubilee fighting Roosevelt Roberts. I just kind of gave him like the worst guy who's still in the lightweight division. Um, you know, if they want to make this guy a star, which they kind of seem like they want to, putting him on pay per view, he needs a win, and this is probably one of a couple guys who he can beat in the lightweight division. And honestly, I would pick Roberts in this fight, to be completely honest. So yeah, I don't even know if this will go his way, but this is probably his best chance. All right, our second fight of the night is Kevin Doucette versus Jonathan Mikulev. This was the first of many that I predicted incorrectly. Um, Mikulev just kind of outstruck him on the feet for at least the first two rounds. Looked pretty good doing it. I was pretty surprised, to be honest, because Mikulev didn't seem like the best fighter. When you kind of look at his regional record, he lost to Alden Bates, who's kind of a bum in the Australian regional scene. But he looked really good against Kevin Doucette. I was very impressed by his striking ability, especially because he is kind of known as being more of a ground fighter. We're going to be putting him against Li Jing Liang. This is a pretty big step up, but Doucette was probably like 30, 40th ranked in the division. So I feel like this is pretty fitting. Li Jing Liang is coming off of a couple losses and has been out for a while and kind of wants to step back in. So yeah, I think this will be a good fight. It's a pretty evenly matched fight, and if Mikulev wins this, he'll look really good, and people will definitely be pretty high on him. On the other hand, we gave Kevin Doucette Johnny Parsons. Um, I feel like Doucette kind of needs a good rebound, and Johnny Parsons is not the best fighter. I think that this will probably be a win for Kevin Doucette, and he'll probably get a finish in this fight, which is kind of what they need because this guy kind of seems like he's a staple in both the Australian and the French cards. And they kind of need those guys where they go international, they go abroad, and they're going to have that guy who's always going to be like a prelim fighter. So yeah, we're going to get Kevin Doucette a win here in either Australia or France next time they go against Johnny Parsons. All right, next fight, Cody Steele versus Rong Zhu. Cody Steele, as you guys probably have seen in many of my videos, I was super high on this guy. I still am pretty high on him. But he did lose 30-27 to Rong Zhu in the fight of the night. This was just an all-out war. Like, these guys fucking threw. And it was a really good fight. I was super impressed by both of them. More so Rong Zhu, his striking looked crisp. He looked really fast. He was kind of just able to beat Cody Steele to the punch. And Cody Steele took a lot of really harsh shots from Rong Zhu, so he's probably going to be out for a little while. Which is why I gave him Trey Ogden, who just tore his bicep. So yeah, these guys are both going to need a little bit of recovery time. I think this will be a good fight for like July, August this year. This will be a scrap. They're both two pretty decent lightweights who are both kind of needing that rebound win. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And then the other hand, we're giving Rongju Manuel Torres. Um, Torres is a really good Mexican fighter coming off of a loss. He's definitely still higher ranked than Rongju. And yeah, this will be a really, really fun fight between these two guys because they're both just all action fighters. This will probably end in a first round knockout for whoever wins. So yeah, Next, we have Alexandre Deporia versus Colby Thickness. This was a pretty good fight. Alexandre Deporia didn't really put on a lot of output in this fight, but he still looked really impressive. Every single shot he landed on Thickness kind of rocked him. His wrestling looked super good. He was able to defend every takedown, which is why we're going to be rebooking him versus Cody Haddon. Cody Haddon was the guy who was scheduled to fight. Cody Haddon was the favorite in that fight. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit more even now that Deporia's had his like big step up in competition. But Cody Haddon's a super good prospect and someone who I'm also really high on. So if Deporia does manage to win this fight, it'll kind of say a lot about his prospects of being a ranked fighter and even a title challenger in the division. And then the other hand, Colby Thickness did lose this fight. He lost 30-27, so it wasn't the best look, which is why we're giving him Long Zhao. Long Zhao is a former Road to UFC bantamweight winner, and he's a pretty good fighter. He's 2-0 in the UFC right now, or maybe 1-1. Maybe he lost. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure he lost Road to UFC bantamweight. He lost in the finals and then won against Kwang Lee recently in Macau. But he's a good fighter, and this is kind of a decent rebound spot for Colby Thickness because if he wins this fight, we'll kind of know that he's pretty decent. But Long Zhao isn't the best fighter in the world, so he'll have a decent shot at winning for sure. Fight number 5 is Kong Wang versus Bruna Brazil. This fight kind of sucked. I wasn't watching the whole time to be honest because I wasn't super entertained by it. Kong Wang won pretty clearly. All 3 rounds was just better. Bruna Brazil was kind of just running away from her towards the end of the fight. We're going to be giving Kong Wang the 15th ranked fighter in the division, which is Casey O'Neill. O'Neill just got injured, so they're kind of on the same timeline-ish between the two of them. And this will be a good fight for Kong Wang to have a decent test, but also kind of get her chance in the rankings. And then on the other hand, Bruna Brazil, you're cooked. You're 2-3 in the UFC, and bye bye. You're going to the LFA. They put on Brazil cards pretty often, and yeah, it's time for Bruna Brazil to go back to regional MMA because she is not UFC material. I don't think. Fight number 6 is Tom Nolan versus Vyacheslav Borshev. This was another one that I predicted incorrectly. This was not my best night for picks. I did decent on bets because I put a lot of money on Drickus. But yeah, in regards to picks, did not do so well. But yeah, Tom Nolan just kind of outstruck and outgrappled Vyacheslav for all 3 rounds. Won pretty clearly. And we're going to be giving him Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt is not the best lightweight in the world. And if Tom Nolan loses this fight, we'll kind of know that he's a bit of a fraud. But he'll probably be able to win because, Jordan Levitt, as I said, is not the best fighter in the world. On the other hand, Vyacheslav is going back to the LFA, or going to the LFA. This guy needs to kind of step down in competition. I mean, I don't really know what else there is to say, man. He's like 3-4 or 2-3 or something. He has a losing record in the UFC, and yeah, this is just not the level for him. And it sucks to say because he's a cool dude and he's a bit of a fun fighter, but he's definitely not at this UFC level. I mean, losing to Tom Nolan is not the best look, just to be completely honest. Like, Victor Martinez dropped this guy. Victor Martinez did better against him than you did, and Victor Martinez is not in the UFC anymore, so nor should you be. Sorry, Vyacheslav, but yeah, bye-bye. Now, Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. I was super confident that Jenkins would win this fight. I just thought he was better pretty much everywhere. I was wrong. Aside of the head kick that he landed in the first round of the fight, he was just kind of outmatched. He decided to take Santos to the ground after head kicking him, which was not the best move because Santos just got him in a triangle and then kind of just controlled him for that round. So for Gabriel Santos, we're going to be booking him versus Nate the Train. This is just going to be a sick scrap. Like, Yeah, that's kind of all there is to say. This is just going to be a fight of the night, kind of anywhere you put it. These guys are just going to come to slug. And yeah, you're going to get a sick fight here. So you're welcome, UFC. On the other hand, we're going to be giving Jack Jenkins Fernando Padilla. They're both coming off of losses. Padilla just got knocked out by Sean Woodson. So yeah, these guys both kind of need that rebound fight. And yeah, that's kind of all there is to say about that one. It should be a pretty fun match. They're both pretty flashy, exciting strikers to watch. So yeah, those are my matches to make for Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. All right, on to the next one. Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. Matthews was just kind of faster and better on the feet, and that led to him winning a pretty easy decision in this fight. It wasn't the most entertaining fight in the world, but Matthews pretty clearly won. And yeah, that's kind of all there is to say about the fight itself. Onto the matchmaking, Matthews called out Neil Magny in his post fight interview. And I think that's kind of the perfect fight to make. You know, they're both kind of outside of the rankings, but not too far away from a ranked opportunity. And it's going to kind of be a good chance for Magny to get a win because Matthews isn't the best fighter in the world. And Magny accepted the fight, and Matthews called him out. So, I mean, there's no kind of arguing that. I think this would be a fun one to make, and I think it's the right call. And then, sadly, Prado, he's a fun fighter, but he's 2-3 in the UFC. And he's really outsized for welterweight in the UFC, so I just think he needs to go back to Samurai Fight House. Yeah, I think he's not really at the UFC level right now. Maybe give him a few years, let him kind of size up into the division while also getting much more regional experience, and he'll be better for it, and he'll come back as a better fighter. So yeah, this is the end of his current UFC run. I'm sure he'll be back at some point, but I do think it'll be best for him if he goes to the regional scene for now. All right, fight number 9 is Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. This was just a banger. Crute 10-8'd him in the first round, and then Bellato won the second two. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. You know, they were both seemed like they were out of the fight at some point, and it was just a super fun scrap. You know, in any other card, this would have been the fight of the night, but Rongju versus Cody Steele was such a good match that this didn't end up winning any bonuses. Which is a little sad. I hope Dana will compensate them in the back because these guys lost years of their life for this fight. And yeah, they deserve some money for it, man, because I just had a great time watching this. On Crute's side, we're going to be giving him Brenson Ribeiro. Ribeiro is 1-2 in the UFC right now. He's just an all-action fighter. He's like that killer be killed type of guy. And Crute, as we saw, is also a killer be killed type of guy. So this is just going to be a good match, and Crute kind of deserves that chance to kind of finally get a win. You know, he's like 3 losses and 2 draws in his last 5, and yeah, he just deserves a decent chance at getting a win. And then the other hand, we're going to be giving Zhang Min Yang Rodolfo Bellato. This fight's just going to be sick. Like, these are just 2 heavy-handed guys that are just like going to fucking slug until one of them is dropped. This would be such a good fight. Like, I would pay pay-per-view money just to see this fight, man. Like, this is going to be so sick. I'm pretty proud of this one, to be honest. This would just be a banger. Like, that's all there is to say about this one. This would just be such a sick fight to watch. So, yeah, that's my matches to make for this one. Next, we have Taliesin Teixeira versus Justin Tafa. This was really impressive from Taliesin. I thought he would win in a decision. I'm stupid for thinking that. He knocked him out in 30 seconds. He hit him with a really nice elbow in the clinch and then just ground and pounded him out from there. Yeah, Taliesin Teixeira looks really impressive. We're going to be giving him Marcos Rogerio de Lima. This will be another kind of good chance for him to get a finish and kind of just gauge how good he is against like a top 15, 16 type of guy. I think Pizarro just left the rankings, but you know, he's around there. So yeah, this will be a really fun fight to make, and I think that this would be a good chance to see like how good Teixeira is as a fighter. And then on the other hand, to be honest, I was thinking of just putting Tafa into Power Slap. I don't think he's long for the MMA world. But I just thought this would be a funny fight to make because both of these guys are the only 2 people in heavyweight history to miss weight. So this is kind of like the super heavyweight championship, in my opinion, because these guys are both over the heavyweight limit. These guys both cut weight to make 265 pounds, which is just fucking wild to me. Like, Tafa came in at 266. Like, bro just needs to fucking get on a diet. Like, that's just crazy. But yeah, either way, like, this will be a fun fight to watch insofar as it would just kind of be funny because these guys are both just kind of bums and shouldn't really be in the UFC anymore. Sorry, Chris Barnett. Sorry, Justin Tafa, but I'm not wrong. Like, these guys should both be in Power Slap. So yeah, winner gets a Power Slap contract, and loser also gets a Power Slap contract for this one. Fight number 11 is Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I was really hoping Suarez would win this one, but yeah, Zhang is just so good, and fuck Manon Fiorot, bro. Boring, inactive fighter. Zhang Weili absolutely deserves a shot over you. She's more active, more entertaining, more interesting as a person, and she is, by all logic, the goat in the strawweight division, and she deserves a chance to move up 100%. So yeah, we're gonna be booking her versus Valentina Shevchenko in a super fight. This could headline a pay-per-view. It would be a good fight to headline a pay-per-view in my opinion because they're just both such good fighters. And yeah, I would absolutely love to see this fight. And then on the other hand, we're going to be giving Suarez the loser of the Janjaroba Xiaonan fight, which I do think is going to be Yan Xiaonan. Um, yeah, Suarez, if she's going to continue fighting, kind of needs that rebound fight. And yeah, this would be a good matchup because Xiaonan has pretty good takedown defense, as we saw in the Dern fight. So this would kind of be a good place to gauge Suarez is wrestling outside of a championship fight and kind of just see like in 3 rounds how she'll do as a wrestler. So yeah, those are my fights to make for this one. And now on to the main event, Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. Dricus just beat his ass. Like, this was a really impressive fight, really good win for Dricus. Um, I'm happy, man. Dricus is one of my favorite fighters, as is Sean Strickland, but Dricus is just more fun to watch, and I think it's better for the division if he's champion. So we're obviously just going to be booking him versus Khamzat. Like, this is the fight to make, 100%. Khamzat's like that nightmare matchup for everyone in this division. And this is going to be a banger, bro. Khamzat's just going to come out and wrestle him for the first round. And if Dricus can survive that, we're just going to be like, Dricus is just going to be wailing on this gassed out Khamzat. It's just going to be such a sick fight. I'm so curious about this one. I have no idea how it's going to go. I think I'll pick Dricus to win this one. And this, if Dricus wins this, man, he's like a top 3 middleweight of all time, maybe even top 2. Like, beating Khamzat, Strickland twice, Izzy, Whitaker, insane resume. So yeah, this is the fight to make. This is such a good fight. I would love to see this one in International Fight Week, in Abu Dhabi, just wherever, man. This would be such a good fight to make. And then on the other side, we're just going to be running the rematch versus Imavov. I said this last week. This is the fight to make for both guys. I think Imavov does need one more before he gets his title shot. And Strickland is in need of a rebound fight. And I think this is a pretty even matchup. So yeah, those are my fights to make for UFC 312. This was a pretty fun card, It didn't look the best on paper, but there were a couple really impressive knockouts, 2 amazing fights. And, my favorite fighter on the card did win. So overall, pretty happy with the card. As I said earlier, I kind of got rinsed on picks. But, that's how it is sometimes, man. Like, you win some, you lose some. I still made money on my bets, so I can't be too upset. But, I'm going to try to do better next week. Yeah, that's kind of it. All there is to say about this one. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I seem like a little tired or whatever. It's 3 in the morning right now, and I've been up all day. I had a long day before UFC, and then I watched UFC, and now I'm making this video. So, yeah, that's kind of all there is to say again. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Have a good night if you're watching this in the night, and have a good morning if you're a normal person and watching this when you wake up. So, yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one. Peace.